Hey, what is going on? Harvey Lemus here, and I have some marketing fire today. And today is really about marketing, but it's also really about life. And the thing that I want you to understand today is by this concept that I'm going to share with you, it's going to allow you to understand not just marketing, but human psychology at such a deeper level because I like to say marketing isn't marketing, it's applied human psychology. Because it's one thing to theoretically understand it, but it's another thing to actually apply it and get results with it. So, I'm going to give you the ultimate marketing sauce. And this is something that I've unconsciously applied my entire life, and I never really understood it why until I seen a couple of like the marketing figures talk about this. And I was like, oh snap, I already knew that. Like I was already doing that. It just validated what I believe. So today I'm going to be talking about the power of contrast and duality because the key word for today is going to be contrast because contrast is what allows you to stand out. Okay. And I believe in contrast at such a fundamental level that everything I do is based around contrast. Because when I'm trying to get a certain result, okay, I just try to see how can I be different from the rest? How can I be unique? Because there's a popular saying that I've always adopted since I was a kid is when they zig, you zag. So when everybody's doing this, just do what no one else is doing. Like go be one of one, go be in your own category because once you do that, you're going to attract that type of audience who's just like they want something new, they want something fresh. And typically the people who are like sophisticated, and what I mean is like the people who get outreached a lot, to the girls who get hit on a lot, or even the guys, or to the celebrity who gets a bunch of people trying to get something from him, right? The only way to stand out is to be different. Because if you go do what everyone else does, like everyone's just gonna be like, oh, like he's just another one. He's just another one of those. So, in order to combat this, you got to be different. And you got to understand contrast, okay? And this is not just for let's set up celebrities. This is not just for like women. This is not just for your friends, or this is not just for like understanding how humans work. Like the reason I bring up contrast is because as humans, right? This is not just like a cool concept. This is based on psychology, and the reason why is because as humans, we always make we develop our understanding based on contrast. So, for example, you don't know what dark is because you only know what dark is because you know what light is. Okay, and what I mean by that is like if you didn't know what light was, you would only know darkness, but you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. So you wouldn't really understand that like what darkness really is because it would just be one thing, and you wouldn't be able to have a reference point on something else. And that's what I say this because everything in life has a dual opposite. And let me give you an example. Just like dark, there's light, right? Just like love, there's indifference. Just like white, there's black. Just like any color on the color spectrum, right? It has its own opposite. Just like anger, it has its joy. And you can, even this microphone has an opposite. Like, well, what's the opposite of a microphone, right? I don't know. But everything has an opposite. And this is fundamental to understand because once you understand like this, you'll understand that all good marketing has an opposite. Because there's the typical marketing, right, that you see on YouTube and like the gurus teach you to like preach and like go do this, right? And then everyone does it and then that becomes like the norm on what everyone's doing. And that's how to be average because you're going to get average results doing what everyone else is doing. So in order to really crush it, you got to do something different. You got to do something that no one's doing. And one of my mentors always says, like, you got to have a competitive edge. Like, you got to have an advantage. And the only way you're going to develop that is by being different. It's by having contrast, zigging when they zag. So what's your competitive edge? And I just have a couple pictures I just want to share. It's like, this is contrast. It's the yin and the yang, right? And also, this is a cool little quote I found. It's like, what is life without loss, love without loneliness, ecstasy without pain? You can't have one without the other, and you can never appreciate either. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Because if you don't know what the other one is, then you can't even appreciate what you have. So, good marketing comes down to being different. It comes down to understanding what's already being done, and then innovating on that and doing something that has a completely different approach. Because once you do that, then you become a category of one, then you become memorable, and then anyone who tries to copy you, they will never catch up because they're playing from behind. They're not being the leader. They're not being at the front. And That's why you see a bunch of like musicians, or you see a bunch of um, like artists in general, like if it's basketball players or whoever, right? They're the ones who start a trend. If it's a certain playing style, if it's a certain rapping style, if it's a certain type of singing, if it's a certain fashion or whatever it is, and then everybody tries to be them. They get so many copycats, but at the end of the day, everyone knows where they came from, and they got that style from this person, right? And then that person is considered to be like the legend in the space. So I say this because this is even relevant for local businesses. Like you may not think it is, but it is, because you have all these like these agencies, right? And they have like 300 clients, and they have like, and they work with like local based businesses or whatever, and they're all giving their clients the same exact marketing, right? And I noticed this in the fitness space a lot. It's like everybody has the same marketing. Everybody's posting the same things. It's hilarious because it's like we all know where you're getting that from. So, but you guys all having the same marketing, it's like none of your guys' marketing stands out. Like, yeah, you get okay results, but in order to get really good results, like great results, you got to be different and you got to stand out. And that's what I've noticed. It's like no one stands out because you guys are all the same. So having that's why creativity, as much as sometimes it's frowned upon in marketing, it's like don't be creative. No, you have to be creative, because once you understand that creativity only stems from variation by trying different like variables, right? So let's say variable A is a good hook, variable B is a strong like video, and then variable C is like a call to action, right? You got to mix and match those variables, and until you find the winning combination of variables, then you get your winning ad, which leads to your winning campaign, and then now you have a winning sales process, right? You have a winning funnel. And that's why like I believe in creativity in that sense, because once you do that, now you have a process for split testing and finding something that's going to crush it. And most of the times, like nobody has a process for that, or they're not patient enough to put in the work and just iterate and find the variation that eventually is going to like crush it. They just like find something that's okay, and then they settle, and then the results just get worse and worse because they don't update, they don't test, they don't try new things, and people don't even resonate with the marketing. Like it gets looked at and then it gets forgotten, right? And that's why I'm just such a big proponent on contrast, because once you understand contrast, not only makes you a better marketer because you understand how to actually be memorable, it gives you a better life philosophy because you understand where you're at in the like in a certain situation. For example, let's say if you were eating super clean and you've been on your diet, right? You're on the one spectrum of the contrast, and that's like disciplined. And then when you like start eating like fast food and all that stuff, you get super undisciplined. Now you understand like what it's like to be disciplined, right? And you understand what it's like to be undisciplined. So you have that contrast. So you want to minimize the undisciplined and then expand the disciplined as much as possible. So, and you only realize that because there's this idea of contrast. You get what I'm getting at here. That's why I think contrast is just like the coolest thing ever, because once you understand contrast, it's an instant method for learning how to stand out and being different. And just that one concept is just going to make you understand how to be different from the rest, and that's what's going to make you good at anything. It's like learning how to create your own lane, and because you create your own lane, you stay authentic, and because you stay authentic, you vibrate at a higher energy, at a higher frequency, and because you do that, you attract more, and you attract more, simply put, because you are being you, and no one can take that away from you. So be authentic, understand what contrast is, and talk to you soon. Hope you enjoyed.